Okay, so this is my full review of this cute little thing here, the all new Apple iPad mini, or the Mini 6. Let's go ahead and jump in. Now, without wasting any time, let's start off with the price. This little guy here will run you $500, and that's for the base model. It actually briefly went on sale on Amazon for like $30 off, but as of now, it's back to the full price of $500, and that's a whole $100 on top of what the previous generation cost, right? I believe that one was $400. But anyway, let's go ahead and cover design here. Now, as you can see here, it is more of an all-new and pretty radical design for the Mini here. You can see it looks exactly like the iPad Air 4, so the current generation of the iPad Air line, except it's smaller. And this new form factor here is boasting an 8.3 inches display. Now, the device itself is very portable, as you would imagine. It's a fairly small device here, and the side around the device is what has seen the most drastic changes, right? You starting off with these new and amazing quad speakers that we have. Well, the quad speaker setup that we have here for the speakers, the sound quality is pretty crisp, pretty full, especially for something this size. So you get two speakers on one side and the other two right across from it on the other side. Overall sound quality, as I mentioned, is excellent, and the top of the tablet here features the volume rocker and also the power button, and that power button is set up just like it is the case with the iPad Air 4. It combos with a fingerprint sensor, so it is a power button and it has that fingerprint system embedded in there, and the way you unlock the tablet would be to rest your finger on there for like a fraction of a second before it opens up, so there's kind of a delay there, but still it works very well. You will also find something else that is here. We have a USB Type-C port, and this is pretty significant for this iPad lineup because, as you can see here, or as you can imagine, it now offers the ability to directly plug in a number of things, right? So different accessories that can, interact directly with your device here. So it's really nice to see Apple continuing to standardize things. By the way, before I forget, if this is your first time visiting and you are liking the content so far, I truly appreciate that. Please do me a favor, hit both the like and the subscribe button there before you forget. I truly appreciate that. Now, the next radical change that we will find on this device, still on the side of the device here, is going to be on this side. That little pad there is reserved for the Apple Pencil 2nd generation, meaning that the Apple Mini, at least the current generation, the new one, now support, the latest or the current generation of the Apple Pencil 2nd gen here, and it locks in really easily, holds it very firm, as the iPad Pro, iPad Air, of course, does the same thing, and it also charges there, so it holds it magnetically. It connects to the iPad, and that's how you're able to pair them up, and it also charges the Pencil, which gives it an already pretty familiar look because we've seen that again with the other iPad. So you will find the same user experience here in terms of features only. So in terms of features, it's going to be the same user experience that you will get from the iPad Pro and the iPad Air, but your overall stylish user experience is really going to depend on how you feel about this smaller screen, right? It's a pretty tiny screen. Now, it doesn't personally bother me, but I would say I prefer a larger, to write or take down notes or even draw on a larger screen. Obviously, there are people out there who prefer a smaller form factor like this one, but it really is subjective to your liking, right? So the good thing here is just that it does support the Apple Pencil 2nd generation. Now, I also do have the iPad Pro, and I can already tell you that it's not as smooth as writing on the iPad Pro based off that 60 Hz refresh rate, but I anticipate that it really won't be a problem for many people, especially those who only own one tablet. And speaking of refresh rate, let's go ahead and jump into display here. As I mentioned, this is boasting an 8.3 liquid retina IPS display, like Apple likes to call them, and we are looking at brightness that goes as high as 500 nits, which is fine, but I still don't find it to be as bright as it sounds. When you hear 500 nits, you might think it's really bright, but it truly isn't that bright, obviously because of the device's size. Pretty good resolution on here also. We're looking at 2260 by 1488, pushing about 326 ppi. So if you are familiar with some of the specs of the previous generation, you will notice that this one has a slightly higher resolution just to match the same amount of ppi found on the previous generation at 326. Except here, the screen is also slightly larger. Well, the aspect ratio ratio is slightly taller, making, entertainment and just enjoying, movies and videos and things like that slightly better when compared to the previous one. It's also nice for, reading and gaming. And speaking of gaming, this is actually a nice segue into the performance. This guy here, as far as the platform goes, it's loaded with an 815 Bionic chip. Pretty powerful stuff, right? That's the same chip that is found on the current iPhone 13. So as of now, the current iPhone, as of the shooting of this video at least, meaning the regular 13, the 13 Pro, the 13 Pro Max, they all are using that 815 Bionic chip. So very powerful stuff. As far as performance goes, yeah, nothing really that we didn't expect already, right? Great for performance, day-to-day tasks. As you would imagine, it just fly through that stuff. Medium level task, also very nice. Heavy task, it still powers through it. That A15 Bionic chip is actually coupled with 4 gigs of RAM, and I do find overall performance to be just excellent here. And you will be able to do some good level of multitasking. Now, I mentioned the taller aspect ratio there, and you will be able to see that some of the more popular social media apps seem to scale fairly well on this here, but it still doesn't change the fact that you have tons of padding, around. I remember I actually tweeted a picture of this, a picture of me holding just, this particular page, and I got a few replies from people asking why there is so much padding there. Now you can go back into settings and make some changes to kind of have the icons appear a little larger, but you are always going to have a good chunk of padding around it. I just wished it kind of, filled the screen a little bit more. But anyway, you can connect this guy here to a keyboard and a mouse, and of course be able to do some great level of editing. But the problem, of course, is going to be the size of the device, because when it comes down to editing, just like it is the case with drawing, so editing videos, photos, whatever the case may be, the larger the screen, the larger the display of the device, the more comfortable you are going to be, at least for most people. So I was able to do some good level of editing, but it didn't feel that comfortable, right? So it's something where if you don't have a choice, you're on the go, and let's say you're on a train or on a plane or whatever the case may be, and you have to edit that video or those photos, then you can obviously do it. But otherwise at home, I don't necessarily see myself using this as my editing device, simply because it's not very comfortable editing on it, again, because it's so small and portable. And speaking of portability here, this thing is a fantastic companion if you are on the road. I definitely see it being a very targeted type of tablet. Right now, you have people who cannot afford, the amount of space that a iPad Pro 12.9 inches require. So now, I don't necessarily see too many people hesitating between this and the iPad Pro. This is just my way of saying that it's very targeted. People who want this tablet probably already bought them, because this is kind of creme de la creme of small form factors, when it comes down to tablet, of course. I find it to be the perfect notepad to carry around for small business owners who are always kind of on the road and need to track or, update or manage things, and need something that is very portable, but at the same time, very powerful, that they can carry around with them. I can also even see this, with doctors, maybe kind of senior level doctors, I don't know what they're called, but let's say attending, well, I think that's what they're called. So an attending who is, holding rounds with, medical students, he may need to take notes, or even medical students, right? During their rounds, this is something that you can easily drop in your lab coat or in your pocket, if you're wearing jeans or whatever the case may be. So I could definitely see real life use of this tablet, and those people would not hesitate to go for this guy. Now let's talk cameras. The camera upgrades are pretty impressive as well. You will get a 12 megapixel camera on the back here, and now we have a flash next to it also. It's a very practical in certain settings, especially in a setting that is not very well lit, so that could definitely come in handy. Then there is, of course, the 12 megapixel ultra wide sensor that we have on that front facing camera that now is integrated with center stage, of course. And that right there is just an awesome feature for video calls, with friends, family, and co-workers. Essentially what it does, it readjusts the camera in order to keep everyone in the frame during a video call, right? I think that's pretty cool. Okay, let's talk battery now. Apple advertises 10 hours of battery life, and I find it to be fairly accurate. I'm pretty sure if you set the settings just right, you might hit that 10 hours. I was pretty skeptical when I got it. I was just like, with this small form factor, I don't really see this thing lasting any more than 6 hours, 5 or 6 hours, but I was actually pleasantly surprised, just like it is the case with the iPad 9, which is also advertised to last for up to 10 hours. And depending on how you use it, as I mentioned, you can come really close to that, or you maybe even go past that slightly, right? So it all depends on how you use. It's all subjective, right? I can't tell you how long it's going to last if you decide to go for this tablet, but all I can tell you is that just like it is the case with the iPad 9, it's an all-day type of tablet, right? You'll be able to, if you have it at 100% at the beginning of the day, you are likely to finish the day, with at least 5 or 10% left. At least that's the case with me doing just regular, usage of the tablet. Now, overall, here's my take. The iPad mini, or the mini 6 here, is not a tablet for everyone, just like it was the case with the mini 5 and the mini 4 and the one before that and so forth. So these are very, they target specific crowds, and those people who are looking for something like this, when they see what this guy here is packed with, they will not hesitate. I gave you a few examples of, the people I think would really make great use of this tablet. Small business owners that need to be on top of their stuff. They need to access, their service, whatever the case may be, track, update, make changes, and they need something powerful. They don't necessarily need to do the full-blown work on their tablet, but, just kind of a oversight of whatever's happening in their company. This would be a good tablet for that, in case they do a lot of traveling. This is not a tablet that you buy to do your full-blown level of work and look to it as a tablet, or as a laptop replacement. This is definitely the way I see it. It's not a laptop replacement, and I'm talking mainly in terms of user experience. It's very powerful. It's going to get quite a few things done, but it's not going to be as comfortable as something that is a different form factor. But of course, that's just my humble take, right? And I'm certainly hoping that this is informative if you happen to be in the market for something like this. Let me know what your questions in the comment section. Make sure to comment. I'm going to catch you in the comment section like I always do. Also, make sure to like the video and make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. As I mentioned, I'm going to catch you in the comment section. I'm also going to catch you in the next video. And up until that next video, of course, as always, stay safe out there.